me, Sony. Welcome back to the GMod ReMod Sandbox, the GMod remake kind of thing with full VR capabilities. Well, they're not full, but who cares? Anyways, it's me, Sony. The other day I was watching the Yogscast, as I do pretty much all the time. They were playing GMod TTT, and I suddenly had this thought went through my mind on how to do a certain buoyancy physics in a much more simplistic manner than I've done in the past. Now, if you haven't seen my earlier Sandbox video where I did buoyancy, I'll probably put a link to that in the description or whatever. It doesn't matter. That one's not as good because that one uses a lot of extra code and blah blah blah. This one's super simple. Let me just spawn in an oil drum. Oh, that was not an oil drum. You get out of here. I shall spawn in an oil drum. Now this thing is buoyant object. It will float on the water, as you can see. The idea I had was before I was doing sort of physics balance on these things when they float. I detect the submersion percentage, so just the amount of the object that's actually underwater, the percentage of the object that is underwater, and use that to make the object float up to a certain height by applying an upward force. I was using plenty of actual sort of points. I was using this point there, the point at the top, the point on the right, the point on the left, the point above, the point below. All of those points were applying different separate forces to make the objects balance out based on their shape. As you can see, this one sort of just lifts up and flattens out. This is only a single force being applied. What I did this time, and this was the idea I had, where I actually changed the center of mass. Well, I don't actually change the center of mass, I just apply the force upwards at a position that is above the center of mass relative to where the object wants to rotate. With this object, I've used what I call a buoyancy axis, and the axis itself is vertically upwards, and the game always tries to keep that upwards. However, it also does it upside down. So as you can see, if I flip the object upside down, it'll still float with the vertical axis being vertical. It doesn't care whether it's up or down. The other way I did as well, and I had this other idea where they actually rotate to balance out horizontally. Now the difference is, this will literally eventually get to that point, the difference is these can rotate along their axis. Now I can show that using this the gizmo. You can see this line, if you can't see it here, this is the line here. There, that goes through the object, and that's the line that it's trying to keep. Now it doesn't matter if the object is rotated up or down like this axis, the object will still float like that. It can roll along the water. The other cool thing you'll notice is, if I throw it left or right, it doesn't actually rotate. However, if I throw it in the water, it starts to spin across the water. What I've done is I've applied friction, air friction or drag, separately to water drag, rather than both at the same time. So normally drag just slows down the object in water. As you can see, it sort of slows down and then stops. Now you notice there, the object floats along, slows down, but only starts rotating when it hits the surface. That's because air has a different drag to water, so the lower end of the object that's in water is being slowed down quicker than the upper end of the object, which is being slowed down slower, and therefore the object starts to rotate and tip over the top of the water. You can see how cool this becomes when I start applying things like those. You can just throw them into the water and they will always become flat. And you can see here with the red line, that red line is always trying to stay flat. If I turn the door upside down, the red line flips over and goes the opposite way. It doesn't matter how those doors are spawned in. Yes, I'm a very fast clicker. It doesn't matter what way those doors go in, they will always flatten out going upwards. I'm going to switch off those gizmos now, if they'll let me. I'm going to do it that way. Right, there we go. And let's just play around. I've done the same thing with these chairs here. So if I drop in a chair and flip it sideways, it will automatically try and go vertical or upside down. Vertical. Yes, anyways. I've also added these special effects that happen when you move along. These are particle effects. You can see the friction happening here. It just slows down. And let's do some clicking. Ooh, the tires do the same thing here. They'll all try and flatten out. So this video is just going to show off some buoyancy. Let's stress test this the Unity engine's physics engine. Remember, each of these things is applying forces upwards and are being affected by gravity. Ooh, fast clicking, fast clicking. Flip. Oh, wrong thing. Whee! Switch to the grappling hook. You can grab those objects as they go in. You can throw them in. Blah, blah, blah. Ooh, it skied across the top. So yeah, it's so fun anyways. Yeah, this is a lot more of an accurate buoyancy system than you see in the normal GMod or anything else that you see really, because most systems completely ignore this difference in drag between the air and the water. So you can see when I throw this, it starts to roll. It's just so different to what you normally see. Now actually skimming things across the top of the water doesn't apply yet. It is something that I'm going to try and do, where you can actually throw something and it'll bounce off the top of the water. Things like if you were to throw a stone in real life over the water at a good angle, it'll bounce off and you try and get it as far as possible. Oh, there's a can down there. So that's something I'm going to add as well. Trying to make it super simple and really optimized so that you can run plenty of objects, all performing proper and accurate buoyancy physics. Well, it's not exactly accurate, but it's very realistic. Not really accurate, but realistic. That's just a terrible way to explain it. Ooh, these doors are all clumped together. So obviously we can, you know what, let me spawn even more. If anyone out there thinks they can click faster than me, you can't. Show me. Yeah. Anyways, you can see how it just sort of, it's still smooth. The engine is awesome. I love Unity. I mean, people hate it so much because all these indie games are made on Unity, they're all rubbish, blah 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 blah. The fact of the matter is, Unity is incredible, especially the physics engine, because it's using NVIDIA physics and it's just brilliant. Let's do some welding, shall we? If we grab the oil drums over here, in fact, let me put one on top there, we'll drop one here, drop one there, and then there we go, and weld them together. There we go, and so that those are welded there, those are welded there. Stay there, stay there, grab myself a door. I'm just gonna make a very simple, very rudimentary raft here. And let's have some fun. Switch back to weld. Are these in the right place? Not exactly a very well positioned raft. I think the door's not exactly straight either. Who cares? Right. Weld that to that, weld that to that, weld those two together as well. Just make it a bit sturdy. Weld that to that, weld that to that, weld that to that. Blah 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 blah. Oh, that one's stuck. Hey! You! Lift. There we go. Ah! Throw it in. Oh, that worked perfectly. Throw it in and grab our grappling hook as well. And there it is! A raft! Woo! It works! Let's try and hop on top of this. Now, it depends on my weight. I might be too heavy for this. No, it's fine. I'm falling in. Stupid. You know what? That door needs to go the other way around. There we go. There we go. Let's have some fun. Ooh, that was a bit quick. I don't know how I managed to jump out like that. Yeah, the sort of water effect there, the splash, that's actually a particle effect. There's no special shaders or anything like that going on. It's just a oh, you know what? I can't stand on this raft. Let's just have some more spawns in. Yeah, that's just a particle effect. This effect here, that splash along the water, that's just a particle effect. It's level with the water and an expanding single particle. That's literally all it is. Very cool, very fun. Let's drop some chairs in. Yeah, you can see the engine just handles so many objects as well. Oh, I love the Unity engine. Let's make a complete mess here. Let's drop in a vending machine and splash about. Yep, that's about it really. That was an idea I just randomly had while watching the Yogscast. This is how I am. Everything I do is just based on random ideas that I have. It pops in my mind and I just do it. That's it. That's how I develop really. That's why I'm always switching between projects, blah blah blah, like I just did just now. I mean, I wasn't working on this project before. I just do. I randomly switch between projects because I'm always having these good ideas. If you can call it a good idea, I don't care if it's good or not. If you can think of a better way to do, a more optimized way to do Buoyancy, go ahead, let me know. Because the faster this is, the better it plays for everyone really when it releases. I am working on this, by the way. It is going to be a game. I am going to make a GMod remake because, you know, I have the engine here. These are all external files as well. Let's drop in a ladder just for the fun of it. Anyways, that's that. Yeah, I'll be making more videos soon. Goodbye!